Okay, we always love seeing what projects Jay decides to tackle for his DIY series, and this is one I heard a lot about behind the scenes, just like that. And then every now and then it'd be a
lot of uhs.
And that's because our very own Stephanie Haney and Mike Polk Jr. asked for Jay's help with a big project.
Yeah, and I'm never one to say no. So
Right.
when Steph came to me, I said, you know what, I'm all in. And I think we can knock this out in a couple of days. Problem was, we were only working like 2-hour days because, I was trying to do it between the morning sports show and then the 5 o'clock show. But it was a total team effort. And what I love most about doing these projects is I get to help my family and friends when they need help. Stephanie and Mike asked for my help building a fence for their newest family member, Stephanie's dog, Oscar. So I packed up my tools, headed over to the place, and started what turned into quite the project. So we're breaking this one into 2 parts because it turned out so long. Here's how it all began.
I'm here for it.
Putting in a new fence can be a very expensive project. However, with the right tools and planning, it's something anyone with the right motivation can take on. And our own Stephanie Haney has motivation in spades. Mike Polk? Well, not so much.
We were looking at labor prices. It's outrageous right now. So then I remembered this segment, and I thought, hey, how about Jay? Free labor. And then Stephanie just kind of took over from there.
These are the blueprints. Yes. We are putting up a fence with 2 gates in front of the driveway here, and then also a fence and a little gate over here that's going to be a little shorter to keep the dog in the compound.
Because I live next door to my sister, which isn't weird at all. It's a little weird.
You want to leave that part out?
No, leave it in. Let them know.
This particular fence is going to require a little extra work. We'll get to that a little later on. But most fence DIYs will involve simply installing all of your posts into the ground. And that's actually where we begin in the small section of lawn. For this part of the project, you'll need a little sweat equity.
So I'm using my post hole digger. We had a very healthy rain just a couple of days ago. It makes the soil very moist and the hole much easier to dig.
While I started digging, strangely, Mike was nowhere to be found.
Did you know that the Jay Crawford is here building something just for you? Couldn't be less impressed. That's what's wrong with the dogs these days. No appreciation for a good resume.
Stephanie, on the other hand, jumped right in to help.
I'm the foreperson of this project, if it goes well. If it's not, I have nothing to do with it.
She actually did a lot of the work in advance here, making the initial plans and gathering all of the supplies. We need 4x4 posts that are 8 feet tall. 2 feet are going into the ground. We want them to be 6 feet tall in most places for our fence above the ground. If you're working across elevation changes, you'll need to level your post heights.
So Steph, our slope away from the house is about 2 inches from high point to low point.
Okay.
So this post needs to be cut down about 2 inches. We want it to look natural to the eye. We want it to look the same height.
Because this is the part we have to look at.
Yeah.
So once your post holes are dug out and your posts are all level, it's time to secure them in place with cement. We used a simple Quickcrete. It sets up fast and does the job.
And action. All right, where do you need this? Right here, no problem. Oh, I'll go get another one.
It may look like Mike finally got involved, but while we were hard at work, he was nowhere to be found.
Now, do I have any idea what they're doing over there? Frankly, I don't. It would be nice if they could have it wrapped up by the weekend, because I've got some plans.
Well, Mike had to learn some patience because we were just getting started. Once the cement dried, it was time to tackle adding the fence sections to our posts. Stephanie and Mike made their own, but if you choose, you can buy them pre-made. They'll just cost you more money. With all the pieces built, it's time to put them in place and attach them to our posts. We use simple wood screws and a drill. One tip here, always make sure your pieces are level across the fence.
Oh, it's at 0, 0.
Okay, that's what we want.
If your entire fence will be secured with posts into grass, simply repeat these steps for each section. But once we got started, we learned the rest of our posts actually needed to go into concrete, and we'll get into that in part 2.
Oscar Wilde, the wild man, he will be contained. By the end of this, he will be contained. I don't know if that will happen on day 2. It might be day 3 or day 4, but by the end of it, there will be a fence and there will be some gates. So I'm looking forward to that.